Hello, and greetings to you all. For those of you who do not know me, I am Dr. Gregory Haughton, three-time Olympic medalist and world champion in track and field for Jamaica. I would like to take this time to say congratulations to all those who were selected to be a part of the Jamaican Olympic delegation to represent our country in Tokyo, Japan. To the JOA presidential team and to the J3A management personnel, I wish you nothing but great success with this team. To the coaches, job well done. You too have an immensely special role to play on this journey. Your most important duty at this time is to inspire the athletes to believe in themselves. Confidence is the fuel that propels the engines of great men and women. To our physiotherapists, chiropractors and massage therapists, we appreciate you. The great athletes are aware that a healthy body and mind mean great performances, perpetual confidence, great determination, great self-awareness, and a balance between mind and body. We thank you for your sacrifices and patience when working with us, the athletes. To our athletes, you have come this far, but the journey has just begun. Do your best to stay focused. I know you have worked hard for this moment. Do not allow anticipation and the pressure of being on the big stage destroy your opportunity to become the next Olympic champion. I am sure some of you worked extremely hard to get to where you are today. Some of you did it without the support of family and friends. Give it your all and make this opportunity count and speak for you in history. I believe in you, but for you to overcome the odds and perform at your best, you must continue to believe in yourself. We are all with you on this journey, and we thank you for your representation. Now, regardless of the outcome, I am encouraged that you all will give your best effort at this championship. I wish you all the best in all you do. I am Dr. Gregory Haughton. Have a blessed day.
Everyone, once again, I appreciate you all coming to my live chat. Today, we will once again have some very rich content because one of my purpose is to make sure that those who need the information that they can get it. So wherever you are, if you're in Tokyo, we welcome you. If you're in Jamaica, we welcome you. If you're in the United States of America, we welcome you. It's good to have or to be able to hang out with family and friends in a time like this. And we are going to enjoy today. So I know today I was calling a couple of my friends, and it is hard to get a hold of them now because they are letting me know that because it's the Olympic season, it's hard for them to be close to their phones because they don't want to be disturbed. So if I disturb you today, I apologize, but you don't want to miss today because we have some interesting things that we are going to discuss. I looked today and I saw where a couple of our athletes competed. Some of them competed extremely well. I personally am proud of what I actually witnessed on the track. And I know that some of the athletes who felt disappointed because they did not, they were not able to achieve their goals. And I know it's tough when you spend all the time training and making sacrifices. You hope that at the end of the day that you're able to capitalize on your hard work and your dedication. Some of them are still young, so I hope they are not discouraged. I hope that they will just go back to the drawing board and don't salvage this season, but to see how and what they learn from what transpired today. Now, I saw where our discus thrower, Smickle, that he did not make it to the final. And I know it's tough because for the past few years, he had some exceptionally great performances. And I know that right now he might be sitting wondering what went wrong. And this is why I oftentimes encourage athletes to make sure that you get that right mental training, because when you come to a meet like this, if you do the wrong thing, you may never get another shot at it. So my heart goes out to young Smekel. I hope that he learned some positive things from his performance and know that it is not the end of the world. You can still push on through. You can still fight. I've been there before, and believe me, I know the feeling. Sometimes you may end up losing some friends because of their own expectation. But my hat goes off to you. Stay focused, put in more work, and see if you can connect with some additional folks that can help you to see the bigger picture. I saw where our 800-meter runner, Natoya, she ran extremely well today. I'm pretty much impressed. One thing you can say about Natoya is that she has guts. She have heart, and she's fighting to the end. And I like to see that in athletes. I like when athletes are willing to leave everything on the track. One of the reasons that is important, because when you leave everything on the track, you have no regrets because you know you gave it your all. I like that. She ran well. She timed her race well. And I know she must be sitting in her room right now feeling good about herself. But this is just the beginning. You have a lot more to do. I know she may get some good competition from the young lady from Great Britain. But I am cheering for my Jamaican crowd. Stay focused, Natalia. I believe in you and continue to push on through. Now, I'm pretty much impressed with our 400-meter hurdlers. You know, Danny McFarlane, over the years, he carried the hurdle on his back when Winthrop Graham and a couple others, Dinsdale Morgan, retired. He was the one who pushed on through, and he kept on pushing and pushing. He successfully won himself an Olympic silver medal. And after that, we struggled a lot. And when young Jaleel Hyde came in the picture, people were expecting a whole lot from him, but he was not able to push or pull through based on the expectation that we expected of him. So I know young Jaleel Hyde must be pleased with himself right now because he was able to perform pretty reasonable today. He ran a time of 48.5. I think that was impressive. He looked good at the national championship. So I can expect a whole lot more from Jahid. We also had Sean Rowe, who did exceptionally well too. I know Sean personally. I know him from he was a freshman in high school. And I am pleased to know that he's actually still here pushing through. And that's what we want to see with our athletes. Even if you fell off from time to time, that you don't give up, that you will continue to fight. I believe that if you continue to fight, it's just a matter of time before you actually make the breakthrough. Because believe me, most of us, we've been there before where things just don't seem as if it's going the right way. And you have to push on through. Or I heard one of the comment that were saying that Kemar did not look impressive. He ran 49 flat. I think he's capable of pushing through as well. So just wait until tomorrow. We'll see what is in the picture. The key is always to get to the next round. Once we get to the next round, then at least you can fight another day. If you look good, but you still didn't qualify, it really don't make any sense. So I want to give some of the athletes some solutions, especially for the 800-meter runner, Natoya, that don't lose your focus. You have done well today, and you're to the next round. But it's not over, because each round will get more difficult. Each round will be more challenging. And you don't want to take anything for chance. You want to make sure that you're running each round as if it's the last, because once you're there, you have the chance to be the next Olympic champion. For the 400-meter runners, the 400-meter hurdlers, it is important that you stay focused. You're running over barriers. So you want to make sure that you're not running somebody else's race, that you're in your lane, you're focusing on your steps, you're focusing on your stride length and everything. No, it's not the time to go experiment with new stuff. You want to do what you're trained to do, and with time, I promise you that you may end up hitting this ball out of the park. I'm here to assist in any way. If you need any advice, you guys feel free. If you have any question you want to ask later on, feel free to ask. Now, without any delay, I want to take the opportunity to introduce somebody to you today. He has been a good friend of mine. I've watched him run. I have watched him do great things over the years. I personally am excited about having him on my program. I remember back in the early 80s, when I heard the name Raymond Stewart, I wanted to be like Raymond Stewart because of the things that he was doing. You know, these guys were like legend to us. And I remember my first world championship meet in Stuttgart. I get to hang out with Raymond Stewart for the first time. And I watched him from a distance, and I was impressed because he's a very humble individual. He has done great things that I think Jamaican on a whole need to hear these things. Raymond Stewart is the first Jamaican to run sub 10. That's impressive. Raymond Stewart is the first 100-meter sprinter for Jamaica to win an individual world championship medal. Raymond Stewart, at the age of 17, almost made the final in the 100-meter in Helsinki, the first world championship games. In 1987, he won his first medal. I want to know what was going on in his mind, because he has been consistent year after year, meet after meet, and only few athletes are able to do some of the things that Raymond Stewart did. Raymond Stewart is the first Jamaican to make 3 back-to-back Olympic 100-meter finals. That is impressive. Raymond Stewart is the first 100-meter sprinter to actually won the trial almost 10 years in a row. It has never done before. So I personally want to know more about what made him a champion. How was he different? And I'm sure the world want to know more about Raymond Stewart. So without any delay, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce my friend, my coach, you name it, Raymond Stewart. Hello, Raymond Stewart. How are you today?
Hey, can't be any better than it is. Thanks for the introduction. Appreciate it.
Hey, you deserve it, man. You have done such great things for our country. And, for me, it's impressive because when I saw the things that you used to do when I was a boy, I was so impressed. I wanted to be like a Raymond Stewart. In fact, back in the days, I went down to Camperdown. I passed for Excelsior High School. But when I heard about the Sprint Factory, I went down to Camperdown and took all my trophies because I wanted to be a part of the Camperdown family. But for some reason, I talked to your coach, Mr. Mills, and, when I told him I was sitting at his office, asking, pleading to see if I could actually be a part of it. So welcome, Raymond. It's a pleasure to have you here. How is Justin doing these days, your son?
Well, right now, to be honest, that boy's on a video game playing basketball.
One of the things I like with Justin, I watch him run, and I tell you, I personally am impressed. He has a whole lot of talent, and I hope that he will carry on your legacy, Raymond, because
I'm trying to lead him that way for real. Right now, I think he's almost a carbon copy of me. Because the way I'm grooming him in terms of when it comes to competition is now it's just to go out there and have fun. Don't take it serious. Just have fun. You know what I mean?
And I see that with him. I'm going to ask you a secret question. You think he'll be running for Jamaica or US? You don't have to tell us right now, but if you want to answer.
I kind of give him a little bit of leadway to try to decide what he want to do, But in some way, right now, I just kind of take it step by step with it,
Yes.
I mean, the track world right now, it's changed a lot. So I kind of explain to him what's going on so he have a better understanding of decide whether or not he want to go in or out, you know what I mean, with basketball or track,
Okay. Well,
so he's leading towards basketball. He's getting better and better. I have someone that work with him one-on-one. The boy's too fast. Sometimes he run leave the ball. So now that he can able to control the ball with the speed that he's working on right now, it's gonna be awesome.
Well, put it this way: his mother is Olympic medalist. His father is an Olympic medalist. I'm sure he's gonna follow in that footstep. And the mother and the father went to TCU, so I would assume that you're still in Texas, and he also will be going to TCU. I can assume that, right?
I'll tell you what, if Anderson's still there, he already have a scholarship put down for him.
Well, that's good to know. Raymond, it's good that we have carbon copies of ourselves because sometimes there are things that we fell short in, and sometimes when we look at our children or offspring, we want them to do some of the things that we were not able to do. And sometimes as parents, if we're not careful, we can pressure them to be what we want them to be. So I like the approach that you're taking. Just give him some of the chance to think about it and make it more fun as he go along.
Right, and that's one of the things I try to do because I preach to him all the time. I say, listen, common sense is something that they don't teach in school. It have to come from the parents who try to develop that kid for him to teach, for him to at least think outside the box. So my job is to make sure that, you know, you don't follow a straight line, because if the line's straight and it broke, you don't know which direction to go. So at all time, everything that you do, you think outside the box. You know what I mean? Because track is a individual sport. Basketball is a team sport. So when you're out there on the team, if you have a bad day, somebody can cover for you. But track now, listen, you're as good as your last race. You know, and you know how that works in the system. You know, it's not like back in the days when we used to run, and if we have a bad day, you know, we can go to the next meet, etc. Now it's like if you have a bad day, you're out. You know, so to me, it's like everything about the actual changes of the sports, it's got to come from somebody who actually understands it, that can teach these youngsters and let them understand how this thing works. And that's one of the key things. They got to understand how the game of this track and field works. See? And once they understand it, they can able to handle themselves much better, and the approach to it will be more awesome to them, you know?
Yes, and I've said that all the time too, Raymond, that these young athletes, they do need guidance. But let me ask you something, because I want Jamaica to understand who Raymond Stewart actually is, because you have done great things in the sport. Like, say, for example, at 17, when you made the first World Championship team to Helsinki, you missed the final by just a few 1/100 of a second. What was the experience like to be a 17-year-old running up against those guys who had won medals after medals after medals? What was going through your mind?
You know, it's something that it's hard to really explain, but I think I can. You know, one of the things is that when I actually went to the championship, you know, to me, I have guys like Bert Cameron and, you know, a couple other Bradford, you know, stuff like that. And those guys was like very much outspoken, fun. They sit down and they kind of explain certain things to you and let you understand, you know, the way of life, you know, what it's all about, track and field, you know. So to me, at that point in time, I'm there, but I'm not even thinking about the game. I'm just there having fun. You know what I mean? I'm just happy to know that I'm around these guys, you know? So each time I hit the track, my mind is like, okay, you know, I see all these guys, I know what they've done before and the time that they've run. And I tell myself, listen, I'm just here to have fun. You know what I mean? This is nothing personal to me. I'm just here to have fun. And the more fun I have, the more relaxed I stay and the better I perform, you know? And it's something that I develop on my own. No one ever teach me that stuff. It's just something that my approach to it just seems to kick in. And from day one, you know, it's like, to me, every time I go there, you always see me smiling for some reason, you know, and people wonder, why am I smiling? But it's a way to relax you, you know, and not really think about the actual race that you're about to run. You see, because the mind controls the body. And when you think too much and you go there and make one mistake, it's all over. If you worry about who you're up against and you approach that race, your whole body already shut down. So to me, I look at it as, okay, these guys run.
So are you saying, Raymond, that because you were relaxed, you were able to conceptualize your race better? You had no blockage in terms of race execution, right?
Nothing at all. My body was just free. And to me, it's just fun, you know? And it's just like, I'm not even thinking about nothing else more than just go out there and have fun. And everything just fall in place.
So do you think that some of these young athletes then are being pressured to think about the outcome, and that might be one of the reasons why they are not able to perform when it's necessary sometimes?
Well, I think the whole thing, Greg, is that it's got to come from a good teacher. You know, if you have a good teacher who been there, done that, and understand the role that you have to play when it comes to the big one, and they can teach it, not just talk about it, but just teach it, then those athletes will perform better. Because to me, most of the time, you know, I don't really go out there and train the body of an athlete. I train the mind, because that itself controls the body. See, so when you start to break down and think too much about, you know, Paul, John, etc., you understand, you forgot about what you have to do. because now you're telling yourself that, okay, here's a guy coming in the race faster than you. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be able to beat him, but yet still, I'm still in the race. You see what I'm saying? So to me, everything is coming from a teacher. One of the great things I can give Mills respect for is that when there's a problem, do not sit there and worry about it. Get up, move towards it, take care of it, because it's not going to fix sitting there.
You
And that,
know, you use the word Mr. Mills, and before Usain Bolt and Mr. Mills had that relationship, it was Raymond Stewart and Mr. Mills. I was impressed with that, because that was one of the reasons why everybody wanted to be a student of Mr. Mills, even myself, because when we saw what you did in high school, like say for example, you made your first Olympic final as a high schooler. Talk to us about that, Raymond. How was that possible?
well, you know what, Greg? Mills and I have a good crew of athletes around me at that time. And facing my performance as a youngster, I was like fearless. I didn't give a damn, excuse my language, but whoever was in that race, the first thing I said, man, they gotta catch me. Once that gun go, they better catch me. See, so I kind of developed that attitude that I don't care who I'm up against. Once that gun go, you better catch me. And it didn't drive much fear into me, knowing that I have to compete against these guys who coming from college. You know, so it I don't know. It's just something that I
Where did
developed
you
over the
get that
years.
mindset? Where did you get that mindset? Because it is the mind that helps you to look at things the right way. How did you develop that mindset over time?
You know, sitting in that stadium at home, sometimes when you have to really and truly wonder where the next meal coming from,
Mm.
you got to go home and you said, okay, um, I did a nice workout. Everything went great. Now, the thing you got to worry about now is to prepare yourself for the next day. Every morning, I'm not going to lie, I went to school, got to school second period, never first period, because I was too tired to get up, you know? So being in that position every day, I think about it. I say, listen, there's something out there for me. What it is, I don't know. I just got to keep working, keep working, keep working. Whatever it takes to get there, I just got to keep working. And there was people that I talked to, because to me at that point in time, I wanted to learn, what I'm doing out there, what is track and field all about, and develop. Like I said, I have some great guys around me, that we just talk, we laugh, we have fun. And that was one of the good part of it that helped me to develop a kind of relaxation.
Mhm.
I'm just seeing these guys go out there and perform at the same time. It just kind of motivates us and motivate me in one and the rest of the guys them who was around us. You know what I mean? So I don't, to be real frank, that aggressiveness, it just happened to just grow with me for some reason, and I couldn't tell what button press on me for it to be in that way. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Well, let me ask you this too, because I remember the days for me, I wanted success just like you, and I wasn't starving. I couldn't say that I was starving, but some of the necessary things that I want, I wanted, I didn't get it. So in your case, you knew you had to put in the work, but when did you actually started to believe that you could be a great sprinter for Jamaica? When was that?
Uh I think in my class one at Boys Champs, class one. And I said to Shane Howell, I said, Shane, it's funny that, being together and the rest of the team, the rest of the guys them for such a long time. and we out here, running, having fun, etc. I said, one of these days, I think I'm gonna make it to the big one, right? I didn't put a time period or anything like that on it. I just said to myself, and I said to him, I said, one of these days I'm gonna make it to the big one, and I didn't really have any big competition in mind to say, well, I'm going to this big one. I'm just going to start at this point to get to this point. No, I approach everything with a hope in mind, and there was, like I said, Mills play a very vital role in most of us coming out of Camperdown development. It was positive in a lot of ways, and it just depends on how you take that message that he's given you to really and truly turn it into positive. And then you have a few of these guys who come home, from college, and I usually sit with them guys and talk to them, and they kind of break it down to you and kind of give you an idea what the system is all about, and that way now you have an idea what you're getting yourself into, you see. But the whole performance from being 17 all the way up, it I would say it looked like a blur in my face, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't really thinking about all that stuff. I just go do things day by day, step by step. I wasn't trying to think too hard, too far ahead, you know what I mean? So that way now I don't put too much stress on myself and say, hey, I got to do this, I got to do that. One of the main thing though is at that point is to get a scholarship.
So you wanted to get out of Jamaica?
Exactly, because I figure based on what these guys are telling me, and the opportunity is there to grow, right? And at the same time, Mills want us to at least, leave Jamaica as well. You know what I mean? So it's not like he was there telling us, okay, you guys need to stay home, etc. So that even kind of motivates us now to even go out there and work harder to achieve getting a scholarship. You see?
Well, I know, Raymond, that in your experience, hard work was one of the keys to get you to achieve what you wanted to achieve. And I remember I was still young at the time, but sub 10 seconds was almost impossible. There's only few people would ever think about running beneath 10 seconds. And even today, we still find Jamaican athletes struggling to run under 10 seconds. In your case, you were able to be the first Jamaican to run sub 10 seconds. What was that experience like? And were you actually thinking about it, or did it just happen?
No, I wasn't thinking about it. Every time I line up at that point in time, right, is to beat who I'm against. Not thinking about the time, because the time is going to tell you how fast you need to run to get there. You see? So my approach to everything is to beat the person who are in the race with me, because you cannot beat time. Time is something that it's going to be with you forever. No matter what you do, you can't beat it. You see, you got to beat the competitors who are next to you in order to get the time based on how fast you need to run to beat that person. So the time was not an asset to me. I just go out there and just try to be a competitor at all time. And whatever the clock say, it say based on what I achieved to beat those guys. And when I run that first 9 seconds, I look at myself and I said, well, I think I can do much better than this. But I won with it at the time, you see? So from there on, it only motivates me more to go out there and work a little bit harder to achieve better results. So every time I approach a race, I never think about a time. I think about who I'm lining up with to race against, you see? And then the time will tell me how fast it take me to beat these guys. See, so that way you stay relaxed, you stay focused.
You see, you sound like you are intelligent. Well, you are intelligent. I've lots of conversation with you. And I know that in order for us to be the best version of ourselves, we need to think. And sometimes the athletes don't realize that their improvement it comes from you having the ability to think long term, to know the cause and effect. In your time, you had a support group. I assume that was one of the reasons you were successful too. Talk to us about the support
Well,
team that you had.
there wasn't really a support group, you know. I was just mainly an individual, you know, out there just trying to do my thing, you know, because the only time Jamaica will actually look at you is when you come home, right, for the trials or you make a national team. But before then, you know, you out there doing your stuff, running, performing, right, until it's time for the Jamaica national trials. So it's not like someone gonna pick up the phone and call you and said, "Hey, you know, congrats, etc." You know, there was nothing like that happening during my time. You see, so to me, it's like, okay, I look at it as saying, okay, this is an individual race. This is me. It might become a job sooner or later down the road, right? And I'm talented to perform better than what I'm doing. You see? So why worry about having somebody calling me to say, hey man, listen up, what can I do for you? Right? If they call, I accept it. If they say something, you know, we talk about it, etc. But I was the type of person that did not sit there, wait for somebody to tell me move A or move B. You see, I'm
So were you
always,
always like this, Raymond, or you develop this as
I
you
develop this as I go. For some reason, that's what I'm saying to myself. I don't know where this instinct come from, but it's just talking to people on a whole, see how they relate and the message they send back to you. You know what I mean? And for some reason, it just kind of clicked in a way that, you know, I look at it and I said, well, you know, this might be a good idea. Let me, you know, kind of absorb this information here and then turn it around and try to use it in some aspect. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And most of the times, you know, if I run back into that person, I will tell them, I say, hey, you remember you say something to me? And you know, I tried and that stuff worked, you know? And for that person, he wouldn't even believe that I would try. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I got you.
You wouldn't
I got
believe it. You know what I mean? But just the coming back and say, hey, you know, whatever you were saying before, I tried that and it worked. It's like a
Mhm.
surprise to them. You know what I mean? And I grow into that type of person who, if someone says something to me or correct me, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna look at the person and say, hey, listen up, you don't know what you're talking about. You see what I'm saying? I would
Mhm.
take that information and I would put it and I said, okay, let me try what this person is saying. And if it doesn't work, even if I see him again, I say, you know what, I tried that information, you know, he gave me, but it didn't work for me. But thanks anyway, you know? And me just being that person helped me a lot to just be humble. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I respect people in a whole that whenever they're saying something, don't get this mindset in as if they don't know what they're talking about. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, that's a thing of the past now because these young athletes today, a few of them want to know about a Raymond Stewart. A few of them want to know about a Gregory Haughton. They think they have all the answers. And even though we think we are intelligent, we're still trying to find the answer. So you know, it goes to show why sometimes they don't get the results because one, they don't trust people enough and they don't trust the information that they're getting and they question everything that you provide to them. But let me ask you this, Raymond, because people struggle to just make one Olympic Games.
Mm-hmm.
You made three Olympic finals and you missed the fourth Olympic final in Atlanta by just a whiskers. I remember you were the ninth guy with the ninth fastest time, and as a result, you missed your fourth consecutive Olympic 100-meter final. Talk to us. How were you able to just make Olympic finals after Olympic finals after Olympic finals?
Well, one of the thing, Greg, is that okay, I was just a one-man army. If if I need a massage, if I need adjustment, there was nobody to give that to me. No one. You see what I'm saying? So over the period of time leading up to those big championships, I'm always getting there with either issues, my body's out of alignment, the whole 9 yards. you know, whenever somebody do touch me, it's mainly from a different country, not our own country. You know what I mean? Because those people are in the stand watching the race instead of outside doing what they need to do. So eventually, even a guy asks me, when the last time somebody touched me, I look at him and say, you're just doing it. You know, so having my body in that type of broken shape going into a championship, I mean, it disappoints me because at some point I can't feel myself perform at the level that I want to. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have that support like everybody else. You see? And I try to learn as I go. Try to learn as I go. I try to, you know, ask people questions, you know, and stuff like that. But what I know today compared to what I know back then, it would be a different thing altogether. You see, my performance would be beyond reachable. But now, you know, now it's just the past based on the present. You see? So I think that my instinct, my aggressiveness, and at the same time, just try to tough it up, do what I have to do, get there to the championship, and just perform with a broken body.
You know, Raymond, I can relate to that because there are many times I remember even my last world championship, I was one of the favorite to win. And I tell you, I had back aches and I couldn't get anybody to just adjust me. And I remember one of the doctors said to me he couldn't even touch me because if he did, the people who brought him there they were gonna send him home. So I can relate. You know, today we find that a lot of the clubs, and that's one of the beauty of having clubs in Jamaica, where at least they have a team of people who they have their massage therapists and they have physio. You know, they are able to get some of those things that we wish we had. We just use ice all the time. But let me ask you this question that we see these young guys in Jamaica, they have access to a lot of the things you and I did not have access to. But yet still they struggle. And you who didn't have these things, you were in the sport for over 20 years. How do you feel about sprinting and where our guys are in Jamaica? And what advice would you give to some of the young ones who truly want to learn, but they just don't know where to start?
All right. Here's my assessment on the whole thing. First thing first, it comes from the teacher. That's the reason why they have two former teachers, right? One, they say a teacher who can teach, and one that they just say, you're just a teacher. See? So the key factor right here, you got the mental part of it, you got the physical part of it, right? And you got the nutrition part of it, right? And then there's one thing that's missing, the mechanic part of it. See? So every time you beat that body up, you got to go inside the mechanic shop to get it straight. Just like your car, every 3,000 miles, that car need an oil change, right? Sometimes some of these coaches doesn't understand the mechanic part of it, that the body need to go inside that shop to get alignment, right? So if you're not aware of things like that and you continue to train without getting inside the shop to get a body work on, right? At some point, your car is going to break down. And it's the same thing with the body. The body is going to break down. So if they don't understand the physical part of how the body works in order to keep an athlete in check and injury-free, then you're going to have that problem with the youngsters. And whenever they whenever they hurt, it takes them a while to come back because the nutrition also play a role in terms of their body position. You see? And if the coaches doesn't understand those two physiological part of it, then those athletes or the young ones, after they reach a certain stage, right, they find themselves start getting hurt because the coach don't believe that they need those type of assessment. You see? And a lot of times you see that happen. And when a kid get hurt, it plague with their mind over a period of time before they even come back and perform on the level as if they never hurt before. You see? So
And
those are the two things that I see that some of these coaches do not emphasize on. And that's what's causing these young guys not to exceed to a certain level.
so what would you tell these young guys themselves? Because some of them don't even aware that, some of these things are necessary. But you do have some young ones who are really seeking after the information.
Right.
What can you
There's some that are seeking it, but at the same time, you have to have a coach with an open mind to say, hey, listen up. These are guys that been to the top, to the very top. There's no more top after the Olympics. You understand?
Mhm.
And it's good to when these guys around, I might not know everything, but these guys been through it. Go talk to this man. Get some ideas. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
How many coaches back home will tell a kid to do that?
Yeah, that
Very
is true.
few.
That is
Very
true.
few.
That is
See?
true.
Because the minute you start to talk to that athlete, their mindset is trying to figure out what are you saying to my athlete? You understand? Or they might say, hey, don't talk to that guy. You see what
You're
I'm
so
saying?
right, Raymond. I remember
Mhm.
years ago I did a little seminar for a particular coach, and he had some sprinters there, and we're good friends with the coach. So I wanted to make sure that, if I see one of his athlete and they ask me some question, I would be open to sharing the information. And I remember I was coming from the championship one day and I saw one of them and I started to ask him some question. This was one of the same guy who was actually at the seminar, and we had one-on-one discussion, and when I started to ask him some question, he got a little bit defensive because he felt like I was imposing. Now I remember, for me, when I met Bert Cameron for the first time, I wanted to know, what could you share with me that could make me better? you know but I
Right.
find that these young athletes here today, they don't want to know about the people who came before them. They feel as if the information that they have is good enough to get them to where they want to be, and over the years you see that the information is not good enough. So
Most of the coaches, not to say anything bad about them, they are great in terms of their individual and what they've done, but the
mhm,
key factor is that they got to have an open mind to learn more. You can never stop learning. You understand me? The
mhm,
more you learn, the more better you become at what you're doing. You see what I'm
mhm,
saying? But some of them are too much, stuck up. Like they're scared to seek the information from somebody who been there, done that. You know
mhm,
what I mean? Anywhere else outside Jamaica, you will have people come up to me and ask questions. No problem. You know what I mean? Because they want to know what it takes to get here. They want to
mhm,
know, hey, what can I do with this athlete? But we're home people. I don't know why they're like that sometimes, because to me, I don't even bother try to figure it out. You know
mhm,
what I mean? I don't try to
mhm,
figure it out. I just leave it like it is. I say if somebody want information and they're craving for it, right? They
mhm,
will eventually put themselves in the position to get it. Now they want you to come to them as if you are begging them something, when in return they are seeking knowledge to coach who they have in front of them to get them better. You see? And I
mhm.
don't know why we as an individual, athlete, past athlete, kind of drive fear into these guys for them be afraid to ask us questions. You know?
Yes, yes,
I
and
don't know.
that's a very good point, Raymond. But at the end of the day, one thing I know for sure, that those athletes who are champions in the mind first, that they don't take the approach of those who are struggling to be champion in terms of how um their ability to want to receive more information. But let me ask you a question, because I know you watched those races today, and with the Sherika Jackson and the Elaine Thompson and Shelley and Fraser Price. Um, I watched those races today and I'm pretty much impressed. I have some concerns though, Raymond. You're the specialist. I never run the 100. And I know one of the things I told the audience is that Raymond Stewart will break down and give us some prediction. I personally have an idea, but I'm a 400-meter guy. So
Right.
give us your assessment. What do you see in terms of those three ladies? And
All right.
who do you think have the best chance of winning and why?
Well, based on all the result that I've seen on the race that I've watched last night, right after my soccer game, right, I take it up on myself to say, okay, let me see what's going on. All right, first thing first, what these ladies got to understand is that you have a few that's been there, done that. You got a few young ones who trying to pick the apple off the tree, from the old ones, right? So Shelly run a beautiful race, nice and smooth, conserve energy, nice and easy. That remind us back in the days, but the difference now back in the days was us is that you go every 4-person pass the tape, qualify, and move to the next round. It didn't come down to a time thing, So now that they changed the game of the whole entire race now you're running 3 races instead of running 4. And it's not position place no more. It's first 2 in the semifinal and then the next 2 fastest. So you're basically running a final in the semifinal. You see? So now this is the true test now that they have to pick it up. Some people might put the gas on and some people might not, depends on what eats they draw. Each going to put more tension on the mind, on the body, right? Because some people think that, okay, I don't want to meet this person right now. You see what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, now there's like, damn, they start thinking about who's in the race, right? That's where they go wrong. See, because once you start thinking about who's in the race, the whole entire body start to shut down. You think you're not going to go out there and perform as if you're running your first round, knowing that you got some weak people to run against now. You see what I mean? So Shelly-Ann looking great. Sharika, she looked good. Don't take anything away from her. She looked good, right? Rowdy Jamaican, all 3 girls looking great compared to how they handled the first round. Sometimes when your body's so relaxed and you're running so fast that you don't even know you're running that fast. You see? So Kanu, who's from Ivory Coast, she's a whole veteran to the whole sports itself. But at the end of the day, I think that I'm not sure if she know how fast she was running. At no point in time she lay up. You see? And anytime you burn that much gas and have to come back, it's not the same feeling unless you totally relax as if it's the first run. Because now she knows she got people to run with. You see what I mean? She's gonna put up a fight again, which is no problem. It's just how she handled each round determine how the finals go. Once you get to that final though, right? The person who's more relaxed is the champ.
Hey, you're dropping some good nuggets here, because I say the same thing. If you're running that fast and you're unaware of it, then something is wrong. Because at the end of the day, a 10:78 could give you a 2nd place finish or a 3rd place finish in the final. But to run a 10:78 in the heats and you get nothing, and then you have to go back the next day and do it again, and you might still not get anything based on what you put out. So who would be your prediction in the entire field? Because it's a very tough field, Who would you pick?
You know what? I'm going to watch the semifinal tonight, right?
Smart man.
I'm going to watch the semifinal tonight. And based on what I see, I can tell you who's going to win that race. I call it all the time.
All right, so you're telling us we got to bring you back. What about the guys? What about the guys? Because some people are saying Johan Blake may be the only medal contender based on what he did. But could you break down the main 400 for us?
You got some hungry Jamaicans out there that want to be to the point where, Bolt and those guys been before. But the level of competition and the level of result that I'm seeing right now, you have to be on a more consistent base. Not just go up the hill and then come back down to the flat. You see what I'm saying? You got to give me something that's stable and knowing that at any given day, you can come back and run the time you just run yesterday. You see, the performance level is like a roller coaster, right? As for you and Blake, right? He's going to give us a show. But the weakness that I see in you and Blake right now is that upper body is too massive as a spring, right? So he's not 12, he's not 20. He passed that age group. So for him to control that heaviness up top, because height equal weight, you see what I mean? So if you don't balance out your body to be able to lift those knees and control it every time you leave the ground. Every race that I've watched so far since he came back with his injury, and even up to now, whenever somebody get out on him, he changes his whole composure. He's not running as smooth as if he's in front. You see? And whenever somebody joined him, then all of a sudden you see a whole lot of turbulence to the body. You see?
Well, my final question for you then is, what advice would you give the Jamaican sprinters? Because they start running tonight. What advice would you give them in terms of, helping them to be a medal contender if it is possible? What would you tell them?
My advice to them right now is just go out there and do what they can do, what they've been training for the longest while, and just not think about who they're up against. Just go out there and just perform. Give it their best shot. Be conservative. If there's a heats that you're in, be conservative about it. You know what I mean? You have nothing to prove going out there and run 9-1 in our first round. You know what I mean? Be smart about what you're doing. Approach the race with an open mind. You know what I mean? Don't worry about who running 9-7, 9-6, whatever it is. You know what I mean? You just tell yourself, listen up. We all human. We're going to line up together. May the best man win. And you just go out there and just approach it each time like that with an open mind and just perform. Don't put too much pressure on yourself thinking about who you're up against and who's in your heats. Because once you start doing that stuff, everything is shut down.
Well, Raymond, we got to bring you back again, and we can talk more about it. You've been in the business. I take your word for it. You never miss. If you make a prediction, in Jamaica, you use the term you can put on your pot. So we're gonna bring you back, and we're gonna talk more about this. I appreciate you taking the time to come in on this program, Sir Raymond. I personally want to thank you for your service that you perform over the years for Jamaica. One thing I know for sure, Raymond, you have inspired a whole lot of people, including myself, because we as athletes, one of the power that we have is that people who want to be, and because we were there, that we can help them to be the best of themselves, because we understand the road that they must travel in order to be great. And I appreciate you. I thank you for coming on this show. One person asking a question: what do you, the Gen, think about Taekwondo Tracy? Because I guess I give you the extra 2 minutes to answer that. Taekwondo Tracy, he's the national champion. You and Blake finished second. What do you think about his chances of getting a medal?
To be real honest, I've watched the trials and I saw him won the 100-meter, but I haven't been keeping up with that particular kid to see his progression. But my advice to him right now, he have one of the best coaches out there working with it, which is Fano, right? So
no, he left Fano. I think he's with somebody else. No, so he's no longer with the MVP camp.
Oh, he's not. Oh, okay. I mean, if he can actually hear some of the things that I'm saying to it, you know what I mean? Just go out there, have fun. Look at it as having fun. That will help relax the mind, relax the body, and you perform better. That's the key to everything. Do not take this thing too serious, because when you take it too serious, everything shut down. It becomes, it's not fun anymore.
It becomes a burden.
Yeah.
You carry a heavy load.
Exactly. It's like if you're there standing up and a cop come up to you and you ain't done anything, you know what I mean? And he's coming at you. It's like something clicked in the mind telling you what the heck going on, and your body just react to it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it's not the same feeling that you have before before the cops show up.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
in a race, it's the same thing. Once that mind clicked and you said, damn, I didn't want to run against this guy anymore. It's like, okay, what are you going out there to do now? Knowing that you tell yourself that. You take away all that hype, that feeling of being relaxed. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because now you figure, well, this guy's fast. You know, I got to race him in the first heats or in your semifinal to get to the final. Don't think that way. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? He's human like you. Anything possible can happen. And you see it all the time.
Mhm.
Guys run 9 seconds. He reached the next round. He said, hold on a second. What happened to this guy who just run 9 seconds? He didn't make it through the next round. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So my advice to him, just trace it, just go out there and have fun and just do your thing. You see what I
All
mean?
right. All right.
Mhm.
Appreciate your final advice, Raymond. Thank you very much for coming. I personally will continue to do what I can to help to reach some of these young people if they want it, and I am sure that they will hear some of your message on this platform, and it is my hope that we can help to change minds.
And that's a lovely. I mean, this whole thing here can open up a lot of can for some of these youngsters to hear what I'm saying. Some of these coaches need to put their personnel in there aside, reach out to people who've been there, done that. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Try to ask us what it takes to get there. How did you handle these things? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That way you have an idea how to coach your kids. And
Mm-hmm.
that kids can develop into an athlete that we were before and approach things in a better manner. You know what I mean? Instead of them sitting there acting like, okay, I don't need to ask this guy. I know everything. You never know everything. You understand? The brains itself always need some type of material to read to exercise the cells. Otherwise, you lose them. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
I want to read this for you,
Mhm.
Mr. Stewart. One of a person in the audience has said, Mr. Stewart, you are an inspiration and proof that hard work, a willingness to learn. They took it off the screen.
Yeah,
Nice to see you, Mr. Stewart. I'm truly glad to see him.
yeah.
If you
Thank
could put
you.
that back, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, let's see
Um,
what that
but
question was.
but it's Kai. In fact, I actually went to school with Kai. Um,
Mhm.
you know, she loves track and field, and she's telling you that you are an inspiration to her. You are an inspiration to many.
There
Okay,
you go.
here it says, Mrs. Stewart, you are an inspiration and proof that hard work, a willingness to learn, and humbleness equals success. Proud to say you are from the land of my birth, Mr. Stewart. Much respect,
Respect. Yes, yes.
Raymond. We're going to bring you
Respect.
on again, and we're going to go deeper into some of the mental thing that you talk about, and then we're going to go deeper into even some of the technical things that you talked about. All right. Thank you very
I
much, Raymond, and may
appreciate
God
it, Greg.
continue.
Anytime. All right.
All
Thank you for having me on here. Yeah.
right. You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you very much, all, for being with us tonight. It is a pleasure to have you with us, and we will continue to bring you good content that can help to inspire and to educate. May God bless you wherever you are today. And I am Dr. Gregory Haughton. Have a blessed day.
Ray Gibson.
All right, I'm going to end this live chat now. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for coming, and I will see you guys next week with more content that can help to inspire you all.
tell you.